Uncountable piles of dead bodies, broken families, stolen childhoods of young girls, and millions sold into legal drug addiction. These are merely the tip of the iceberg. You see, while we've all witnessed the making of the greatest drug lord in popular culture, much of his life remains shrouded in mystery. Today, we tear away that veil. Today, we delve into the 10 things you didn't know about El Chapo. Number 10. El Chapo and the American Dream. In 1988, a man in Sinaloa assumed the position of the most powerful kingpin of the drug sphere in Mexico. This seemingly harmless man would soon become an invincible monster in the streets where he once played as a child. By all means, the short, grumbly man named Joaquin Guzman had climbed the ladder in the drug business to become a name second only to Pablo Escobar. Today, his net worth stands at a staggering $3 billion. But Joaquin Guzman's journey to becoming El Chapo was far from a rags-to-riches tale. Born to a poor farming family in a deprived Mexico, Guzman's childhood was marked by hardship and abuse. As a child, Guzman would play with animals and help his parents out. He later dropped out of third grade to make ends meet for himself and his family. His abusive father, notorious for planting marijuana for local dealers, would often beat, abuse, and starve him. Guzman faced the wrath of his father every day, with very little to eat for the amount of work he was forced to put in. In the 1970s, Guzman joined Hector Luis Palma Salazar to oversee the logistics of transporting cocaine, meth, and heroin into the U.S. The partnership gave El Chapo the right knowledge to operate a drug business and fight the right customer base in both the U.S. and Europe. When Salazar's arrest created a power vacuum, Guzman was all set to kickstart a billion-dollar business. The classic story of the American dream, where a poor farmer boy had made it, was rewritten as the making of the most notorious drug lord in history. From a humble beginning to the pinnacle of power, Joaquin Guzman's transformation into El Chapo is a chilling tale of ambition, ruthlessness, and the dark underbelly of the American dream. While orchestrating one of the largest drug empires in history, El Chapo harbored an unexpected ambition. He wanted to become a film director. This aspiration led him to attempt collaborations with telenovela stars like Kate Del Castillo, showcasing a side of him that transcended the world of crime. During his trial, Joaquin Guzman had a surreal moment when he saw Alejandro Eda, the actor who portrayed him in the popular Netflix series Narcos Mexico, testify as a witness. This encounter blurred the lines between fiction and reality, highlighting the complexities of El Chapo's life. Despite his cinematic dreams, El Chapo's ambitions were never realized. His notorious reputation, characterized by violence and criminality, posed insurmountable obstacles. When you're known for torture chambers and drug trafficking, it's challenging to convince actors to star in your movie, let alone find a willing audience. In the end, his filmmaking aspirations remain just that, a dream. In the 1990s, the streets of America were inundated with cocaine, fueling a frenzy that gripped inner-city neighborhoods. Despite orchestrating this drug epidemic, El Chapo never indulged in his own merchandise. His drug empire, which initially focused on marijuana, expanded to include heroin and cocaine, with his primary customer base conveniently located just across the border. While the Sinaloa cartel smuggled an estimated 500 tons of cocaine into the U.S., El Chapo himself maintained a clean record on drug tests. Despite his vast empire dealing in crystal meth and deadly strains of heroin, he never succumbed to the allure of his own supply. For 13 years, he ran a tight ship, ensuring that his business thrived while he remained unaffected by its deadly products. While El Chapo was rising in the drug world, another famous figure, Pablo Escobar, reigned over the Colombian drug trade. Despite their contemporaneous reigns, the paths of these two notorious drug lords never significantly crossed. Pablo Escobar, known as the King of Cocaine, was closely associated with the Medellin cartel in Colombia. Escobar's empire was vast, and his influence extended across borders. However, there is no concrete evidence of direct collaboration or interaction between Escobar and El Chapo, despite both being major players in the drug trade during the same era. Escobar's reign came to a violent end in the early 1990s, marking a significant shift in the drug trade. His demise created a power vacuum in the drug world, particularly in the cocaine trade, which El Chapo was quick to exploit. With Escobar out of the picture, El Chapo seized the opportunity to expand his empire, solidifying his position as one of the most powerful drug lords in history. The decline of Escobar and the Medellin cartel signaled the rise of El Chapo and the Sinaloa cartel, illustrating the ever-changing landscape of the drug trade. While Escobar's legacy looms large in the annals of drug history, El Chapo's rise to power represents a new chapter in the ongoing saga of the drug trade. One of El Chapo's most infamous titles was King of the Tunnels, a moniker earned through his extensive use of underground passageways to evade authorities and transport drugs. These tunnels became a symbol of his ingenuity and resourcefulness in the face of law enforcement. During his trial in 2019, evidence revealed a network of tunnels used by El Chapo to smuggle drugs into the United States. These tunnels were equipped with sophisticated features, such as elevators, rail systems, and ventilation to facilitate the smooth transport of illicit substances. As technology advanced, so did El Chapo's tunnel operations. He adapted to new challenges by modernizing his tunnels with the latest innovations, allowing him to maintain a lucrative drug trafficking operation. Despite law enforcement efforts to dismantle these tunnels, El Chapo's ingenuity kept him one step ahead. The tunnels not only served as a means of transporting drugs, but also as a symbol of El Chapo's defiance and cunning in the face of adversity. They represented his willingness to go to great lengths to evade capture and protect his criminal enterprise. El Chapo's use of tunnels highlights the lengths to which drug traffickers will go to ensure the success of their operations. It also serves as a reminder of the challenges faced by law enforcement in combating organized crime in an increasingly complex and interconnected world. El Chapo's reign as the King of the Skies solidified his position as one of the most prolific drug traffickers in history. His use of airborne transportation, including hundreds of aircraft and even Boeing 747 jets, enabled him to oversee a vast drug empire spanning multiple countries. The Sinaloa cartel, under El Chapo's leadership, utilized a fleet of airplanes and helicopters to transport drugs across borders, allowing them to reach lucrative markets quickly and efficiently. This extensive air network made the cartel's operations difficult to track and intercept by law enforcement agencies. Mexican authorities have seized hundreds of airplanes and helicopters from the cartel's bases, highlighting the scale of El Chapo's aerial operations. In comparison, Mexico's largest airline owns significantly fewer aircraft, showcasing the cartel's dominance in the skies. El Chapo's use of airborne transportation underscores the challenges faced by law enforcement in combating drug trafficking. His ability to operate a sophisticated air network demonstrates the lengths to which drug traffickers will go to maintain their criminal enterprises. El Chapo's notoriety extended beyond the drug trade, as he became known for his brutal tactics and unusual acts of generosity. Despite his ruthless reputation, El Chapo was revered by some for his patronage and largesse, particularly in his hometown of Culiacan, Mexico. One of El Chapo's peculiar practices was his habit of paying for meals at restaurants for all patrons present. After a security team had collected their phones to prevent any recording or communication with the outside world, refusal of his patronage could result in being detained until the bill was settled, highlighting the power and influence El Chapo wielded. Furthermore, El Chapo was known for leaving exorbitant tips, sometimes amounting to thousands of pesos, to servers at local establishments. This generosity, albeit driven by fear and intimidation, was remembered fondly by those who benefited from it. Despite his acts of kindness, El Chapo's legacy is marred by violence and terror, as he was responsible for countless deaths and untold suffering. His ability to instill fear and command loyalty through both fear and generosity speaks to the complex nature of his character and the impact he had on those around him. In 2008, Culiacan, Mexico, faced an unprecedented shortage of roses on Mother's Day, a day traditionally marked by the exchange of flowers. The shortage was a result of El Chapo's extravagant gesture to honor his deceased son, Edgar Guzman. Edgar, just 21 years old, was brutally murdered, with his body left so disfigured that his own mother struggled to recognize him. His death was a tragic consequence of the violent cartel wars plaguing the region. In a display of grief and remorse, El Chapo purchased an astounding 50,000 roses for Edgar's funeral, causing a citywide shortage. This grand gesture, while seemingly noble, underscored the dark reality of El Chapo's world, where violence and tragedy were commonplace. The story of the 50,000 roses serves as a poignant reminder of the human cost of El Chapo's reign of terror, where families were torn apart and lives were lost in the pursuit of power and wealth. Paranoia and mistrust were constant companions for El Chapo, who went to great lengths to maintain control and surveillance over his empire. To aid in this endeavor, he enlisted the help of Christian Rodriguez, a young IT expert, to develop sophisticated spyware and wiretapping equipment. Despite his success as a drug lord, El Chapo's personal life was marked by insecurity and suspicion, especially in his relationships. He used his spyware to monitor his many lovers, wives, and mistresses, ensuring they remained faithful to him. However, El Chapo's obsession with surveillance would ultimately backfire. Rodriguez, feeling the weight of his actions and perhaps fearing for his own safety, decided to cooperate with the FBI, providing them with valuable information obtained through the spyware. Rodriguez's cooperation dealt a significant blow to El Chapo's operations and contributed to his eventual capture and extradition to the United States. It was a stark reminder of the consequences of El Chapo's unrelenting pursuit of power and control. El Chapo's story is incomplete without mentioning his remarkable escapes from prison, which have cemented his reputation as a master of evasion and survival. In 2001, El Chapo managed to escape from a high-security prison in Mexico by hiding in a laundry cart. This daring escape, orchestrated with the help of bribed prison officials, showcased his resourcefulness and cunning. His most audacious escape, however, came in 2015 when he fled from Altiplano prison through a tunnel that led directly to his prison cell's shower. This mile-long tunnel, equipped with ventilation and lighting, highlighted the extent of El Chapo's connections and planning. Despite being captured shortly after each escape, these incidents underscored El Chapo's ability to outwit authorities and maintain his freedom, at least temporarily. His escapes became the stuff of legend, further elevating his status in the criminal underworld. Today, El Chapo is serving a life sentence in the United States, far from the tunnels and prisons that once held him. But his legacy lives on as a testament to the power of one man's ambition and the lengths he would go to achieve it. As we conclude our journey into the life of El Chapo, we've uncovered 10 captivating yet lesser-known aspects of his life that shed light on the man behind the legend. We've seen how El Chapo's humble beginnings and turbulent childhood shaped him into the formidable drug lord he became. His ambitions, from wanting to be a film director to his notorious drug empire, reveal a complex and driven individual. His relationships, both with his family and his enemies, paint a picture of a man who would stop at nothing to achieve his goals. His escapes from prison, while daring, showcase his cunning and ability to evade capture. But beyond the headlines and the notoriety, El Chapo's story is a reminder of the human cost of the drug trade. The uncountable piles of dead bodies, broken families, and stolen childhoods serve as a stark reminder of the true impact of his actions. We invite you to share your thoughts and comments on El Chapo's story. What aspects surprised you the most? Do you think his legacy will endure? Or will it fade over time? Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos. Until next time, stay curious.